Aish, good morning, everyone, or afternoon. Let's quickly recap so I forgot to record. All right, so our question is we want to write a constructor and create. So we went up here to the public area where methods are created. They said it's a constructor. They said the name is create. They said we're receiving parameters. So in the question, they said we're receiving name and the name of the country and the name of the leader as parameters. So we created the name for the country and the name for the leader as parameters. We press Ctrl Shift C and we're in this section. Okay, yes, carry on. So what do I do in here now when we want to assign these parameters to the correct attributes? Yes, talk to me. What do you think, guys? Tell me, what do you think? Yes, it's always attribute first, then yes. So that should be the F, and that should be the S. So yes, yes, yes. So your attribute, your parameter on the right hand side and your attribute on the left. So your local variable we give to the global variable so that they can have it. All right, next line. What do you do? Yes. All right. And that's basically what they asked in this part. Assign these parameter values to the correct attributes. So that's done. Now they say initialize the attributes for number of trees and assistance to 0. All right. So a number of trees and assistance we need to make 0. So how do I do that? Okay. Perfect. All right. And that is our constructor. All right. Then number 2. Write the code for a method named calculate funds, which must be which must use the attributes named F3s and F assistants to calculate and return the amount of funding needed for the tree project. So do you see, first thing, what will this one need? You will need F3s and F assistants. So which, I want to say, which section of our method name are we referring to when I'm asking like what will we need? Why do we need to know what we'll need for which area? So what I was, yeah, sorry, I don't know a nice way to ask it, but basically, do you see like with this one, we received the name and the name of the leader and the country. With this one, do you agree we're not receiving anything because we're only going to use the two attributes. So because we're not receiving anything, what does that tell us? Yes, remember the receiving part talks about the parameters. So because we're not receiving anything, there's no parameter, so the brackets are empty. Then they said I highlighted this return part. What does the return do? What does this tell us when you see return? It's a function. Yes. So that's a function. This one. All right. All right, so now we can go to that side, and they said we must call it calculate funds. So let's go look. So we go up again. Remember methods, always here, except if they tell you specifically, make it a private method. But if they don't say, always by public. So what will my first word be? Function. And what's the name of this thing? Calculate funds. Funds. And then what's the next thing we need to look at? Yes. So you can put empty brackets if you want to, or you can just leave it out. Okay, so and after parameters, what's our fourth and last piece we need? Yes, because it's a function, we've got this area. So we go colon, and what data type is funds that we're going to return going to be? So, yeah, so watch out for this one. They were very nasty here. You'll see it's like 250 and 2 Rand and 100 Rand. So if you're going to add all that stuff, it returns this. So some of you really want to say, oh, but this is integer, and go with integer. They very peculiar about this. If it's any unit of measurement or currency, it must be real. So even though the examples are full on, I think it was the year 2018, where they asked for people's weights, and they did like 3 examples, and all 3 examples were like the guy was 50 and 60 and 40 or whatever. They went like exact numbers. And then when we were marking, they said, no, it must be real. And we said, but look, all the sample data of all the sample runs you did was all just integers. They said, no, students must know if it's a unit of measurement, it's currency, it's real. So, yeah, even if your sample runs is like all integers, if it's a unit of measurement, meaning distance or weight or length or whatever, or if it's currency, working with money, must be real. All right, so that, go ahead. Yes, talk to me. No, you can't. Because you'll see there's no into F, no. Well, I don't, well, I'm saying no, but I don't think so. Um, okay, flow to string F is there. No, it isn't. Just the into string, yeah. All right, no problem. Maybe some of the newer versions might have it though, but no, generally, because flow to string F, those of you that sort of know it well, and if you remember from last week, we can format it to currency, or we can format it to say how many decimal places we want. There's no other formatting. So that's why with integer, I mean, all the formatting parts just has to do with fractions. So, all right. All right, now we're in here. Now let's look at the code. So they're telling us the funds are calculated as follows. The leader must receive 250. The cost for planting 1 tree is 2 Rand. And each assistant must receive 100 Rand. So the example, if there was 6 assistants and 100 trees, the cost of the project is the 250 for the leader. Then it's 600 Rand because it's the 6 assistants getting 100 Rand each. And then 100 trees times 2 Rand each is that 200. And then adding them all is that amount. All right. So, all right. Who wants to try for me? What must we do here? So now OOP is done basically. Now what we're doing is just normal coding. What you've always done in your buttons. I have to say this is like a grade 10 question. How do we do this? Just like one random button there, calculate cost, and then. So now don't make it more difficult than it should be. It's really straightforward. Okay, I want to try that for us. All right. So no wonder was very lazy. Generally, I like variables. I would have created a variable, but Result, because it's a function, result is seen as a variable, so we can just assign everything there. That's much shorter. So Nwala is giving a much shorter. Technically, it's actually a better solution because she's not creating a variable that will take up RAM space just because. For me, I like creating a variable, using that to get the answer and send it. Even the variable I created, once the end is reached, because it's a local variable, it does get released. So mine technically, it does use a little bit more RAM, but only for the time of calculating. So it's not like too serious. But okay, no wonder it's good. I'm happy. Okay, so you said the result is equal to 250 for the leader, yeah? Yeah. The amount of 3 times 2, yeah? Yeah. And that's it. Perfect. All right. Any questions on this one? Is everybody happy with this? So the question literally just said, cost of the project is the 250 for the leader, the assistants times 100, and the trees times 2. So we just went 250 for the leader, the trees times 2, and the assistants times 100. We add all of those together and we send it back. Yes, talk to me. Yes. As soon as you go function, because by saying function, you're saying you're returning something. And then we're returning a real. So now what I did to make life easy is I said, all right, you are going to give me, you're going to return a value and it's going to be a real one. So I'm going to give you result, which is basically of type real. And whatever you want to send back, just give it to it. So this is sort of like the, I want to say the runner. If you've got, sort of like Pavan is now busy with the Valentine's songs. If you want something to be played, just give the song to Pavan. So because there's thing and something needs to be returned, so like a song needs to be played, you take the song, give it to Pavana, and he will send it to this whoever's going to play the song and actually play the song. So it's just like that. And whenever there's a function, you'll have a result. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so personally, so no one is actually, because it's such an easy one, this is actually a better way. But what I like, whenever I need to do something, like even in the toString, I like creating a variable first, and it's a real. So I'll create here some like cost of type real. And then I would have done my calculation and put it in cost. Get the answer, and once the answer is like sorted, because now you can do a lot. Let's say there was if statements and loops. You can use cost to get through all the for loops and while loops and random numbers, whatever else needs to be done. And when it's done, you just say result is then equal to the cost. So you create a variable, get all the calculations done, put it in there, and when it's done, just send that variable to result to be sent to the other side. Yeah, so I'm just going to undo this. So, because it's such a straightforward calculation, I think my one less one is the best way to go about a straightforward question like this. But if you do that variable one, 100% still, you get all the marks, you won't be penalized at all. Yeah. All right. All right, sounds like it. All right, let's go. 1.3. Write code for a method named add numbers that will receive. So when I see the word receive, what does that tell me? Parameters. Right, so we're going to have parameters, two integer parameters. which will each represent the number of trees and the number of assistants with which you can increase the attributes of the class. Set the value of attributes to that, increase the number of attributes corresponding, use the method written previously named calculate funds to set the attribute named f funds. Alright, so let's start at the start. So are we returning anything? No. So we're not returning anything, so that tells us procedure. Then they said we must call it add numbers. Alright, then we go back. Did we have parameters? Yes, we had. And they said it's going to be two integers. Alright, so we've got parameters. And how will that look then? Yeah. 100%. You can do that. Colon. Yes. Yeah, you can do it there also. You can do it there also. That's fine. So it depends. Um, I generally start like this because I like building up what I'm doing. So that's why you'll see something like even with the previous one, not just doing it in one line. I like creating the variables because then I'll look and then to maybe just show that one again. So if I went, let's look at this. So if I did like the cost one, let's say it was a little bit more difficult. If I wanted to assume this was a more difficult calculation, what I would do, I would say, all right, the cost is the 250 for the leader. And then we see, okay, then I'll read on and I'll see, okay, but the cost is also whatever the cost was, but then I have to plus the 2 rand for each of the F3s. Now 3s are added. But now I need to know, okay, but the cost is whatever the cost was plus the 100 rand for each of my F assistants. So you sort of um, build it up. And now the cost is sorted. So now my result is the cost. So I want to say, so I do it like this because I do it bit by bit. And as we read it, especially if you get to a difficult question, sometimes you won't just automatically know. And especially some of the first question or last questions, you'll read it and then not actually know what is happening. So the way that I'm going to try and teach you is you do it just step by step, sort of see it as an algorithm where we just do that little bit at a time. And so like build up that cost. All right, this is all recorded, so we can get it from there. Just quickly undoing back what it was. So why I said that is sort of the same with this part. They said we're going to get a country, so I put country down as a string. Then we read the question and we say, okay, but I'm going to need leader also as a string, so then I'll add it as a string. If you see it from the start, you read nicely, and you just see, hey, I'm going to need two integers, that's fine. The problem comes if there's an integer in between here. You need to go, let's say I3s was there, then you needed to say I3s and then integer and then that. So now if it's like this, you cannot group country and leader. So be careful with that. If this was asked by the create, this and this is two different things. Because what this one needs a string, then another string, then an integer. However, the way it was, this one needs a string, integer, string. So these sequences is very important, and you'll see now when we go to the other side, when we start using these ones, I'm going to show to you that the sequence of your parameters is very important. You must stick with the same sequence that the question paper asks you. In this case, because both is integers, it's fine. But again, you couldn't swap these two around. You should not say I assistants, comma, I trees. Don't do it the other way around. It must be the way that the question asks you. So you'll see the question said you're going to receive for trees and assistants. So you sort of read the questions and you see like the sequence at which they ask it and give it. All right, so they said we're going to receive two integers. So we do that. Then we go, because it's a procedure, do we need anything at the end? No, yes, only a function has got that. So we go Control Shift C. We get that part. Now let's go look at the question. So they want us, we just start at the top. Set the value of the attributes as described below. So use the attributes named F3s and F assistants. Increase, so read nicely, increase these attributes with the values of the corresponding parameters. All right. So with this, with IT, you really need to read nicely because that word increase, if they just said assigned and increase are completely two different things. All right. But who wants to try for us? So that increase part, what should we do? So do this. I3s. Yes, so I'm happy with that one. And then they said we must do it with both F assistants also. So how would that one look? Perfect. All right, and now we've done those two. So we use those attributes and we increase them with the corresponding parameters. So that's good. Now we go. Use the method written previously named calculate funds to set the attribute named f funds. All right, so they want us to use this method now. Now, very importantly, we're using a method in the same class. Okay, but once you try, what do we do here? How does this work? What do I write here? Second, f funds. Yeah, yeah, f funds. Just like that. And 100%. That is perfect. So, yes, talk to me. Uh, so I don't know if you remember last year we also did the display when we displayed like the stuff in our array, and we just said the display word. So that's just calling the method. So what this does, as soon as you see this, as soon as the program sees this, it jumps to this method and it does it basically. So it sees, okay, I'm going to return a real, I have to do all of this, and then this answer gets sent back. So what happens here, we say f1s will get the value of, and then we call this method. So it goes here, it does this, the answer gets put into a result, which gets returned back to here, and that gets assigned to f1s. So basically whatever it does here goes into result, gets sent back here, and that result value gets given to f1s. Yes. 100%. Yes, that's perfect. That's exactly what you say. Yeah. 100%. Yes. Exactly the same. If we copy this and we, exactly. Yes, and that's exactly. So so for you, yes, yeah, it's like what, yeah. And for you for this year, if you do it this way, you'll get exactly the same answer. However, your marks will be different. They'll penalize you for this. So because um, and the reason is they said we must use it, and the reason for that is exactly what you said. Let's say we wanted to calculate the funds multiple times all over the program. And now if we just took this calculation and we copied and pasted it everywhere, no harm, no foul. Except, let's say it's next year and assistance now gets a 10% increase. Now it should be 110 Rand. Now you need to go to all of those million places and go change all the hundreds to 110. And let's say you forget one. Because now if I go there, now let's say it was in 100 places. All 100 places is fixed. Well, if you copied and pasted the code, same answer for this year until you make a change and then there's the issue. Yes. And then the number of trees change later on, and then the leader money changes, and then you're just going to jump around to all those 100 places the whole time while just having the pointer to this area. So you only change it once and it will be fixed in all of the places. All right. Okay, and that's that. So that's like a 7 marks, eh? So what we've done so far is a 5 mark and a 6 mark and a 7 mark. And if you now say think about it, was any of this actually difficult? It's like I think it's really straightforward. Because how much thinking was needed? Not much. And that's the nice thing about the OOP. You sort of just need to remember, hey, I see return or I see receive, and we plonk it down and then remember attribute on the left, parameter on the right, and then the rest is sort of just comes by itself. All right, let's look at the last one. We're nearly done actually. Write code for a method named toString, which must return. So return tells us function. All right, a string. So we function a string. The string must contain the following attributes. So we've just got attributes there. So we've got no receives. So what does there no receives tell us? Perfect. All right, so now I go up again. We go in here. All right, so what's my first word? Function. What was the method name? Did we have parameters? Nope. So what's our fourth piece? And what data type is that? String. All right, and then we press. Perfect. All right, now we're here. All right, now let's just look at how they've got it here. So they want the country name and then go to a new line. So let's do that. Did, no one, did you do this also in one line? Or did you create a variable? Oh, is it? All right, all right, all right. What did you call your variable? Display of type string, I assume. All right, then you went. Display is equal to what? Yeah. Okay, for new line, yes. Leader, yeah. So let's quickly see. So it's a country, new line, then leader. Then there's a word and then we've got number of assistants. Right, yes, so then you went. So space and space, yeah, good. All right. Then, okay. So I just want to make it so that we can see nicely. Okay, then you said plus into, yes. Okay. Okay, let's quickly see. You see, so it's country name, then new line, then leader and assistance, and then new line. Number of trees, trees. So when we do that, so it's our new line, then leader, and that new line, then the trees, and then the word trees. Yes. So then funds and that thing in a new line. Okay. Button plus h13. Yes. Okay. Float string F. Yeah. 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 Okay. All right. And then did you have a last line? All right. So with this way, because no only did everything in one line, she could have just said result equal to actually also. That would have also been fine. So it doesn't actually matter. This is also 100%. So whichever one you liked is fine. But yes, that's perfect. So you'll see we just followed this sequence I gave it. So it's the variable plus new line plus variable plus the word and plus variable plus the word assistance, new line plus variable plus trees plus new line plus funds plus variable. But I said it must be in rands. So we just needed our float string F. I want to use the 10 instead of the 9. Same thing, doesn't matter as long as it's a big number. And that will be the example of the output. All right, so specifically the procedure, because generally our constructor would be similar. But so what we'll do on this side now, you'll see here they've got on the other class, they've got all the GUIs, we've got nice spinners and edit boxes, and there's an image, and everything just looks so much nicer because this is made to interact with the user. While this one we just used the best way we can get to put all the formatting in and to do the calculations and all that stuff. All right, so on this side, let's quickly look at our question. So 2 to 1. All right, so let's do this first one together. So I say we receive an incomplete one. It contains code for that. Global variables object country. Let's just go check quickly. So if we go to our code section, so there's our class. You'll see the one we created is already in by users. So that's good. Go down, and then here you'll see that's just that. Here's our important one. So object country, that's the object name, is of type T country. So that's this one, this T country one. So remember, this sort of creates the link. This one combined with this user spot sort of linked this class with that class, or this unit with that unit. All right, then we go 2 to 1. All right, let's go here. So with question 2 to 1, they want us. The user will enter a country name and a leader name in the edit boxes provided, named edit country and edit leader. So they're just telling us the user will type in a country name and a leader name there. All right. So that will already get. And then what we must do, we must write code to do the following in this button. Instantiate the object country, using the country name and the leader name. All right, so let's go here. So instantiate is basically creating the object. Instantiate is give it the first initial values. Yes, please tell me, Papa. Oh, yeah. So remember to do this, it is your object name equals to the class name dot constructor name, and then with your parameters. That's sort of how you'll create it. So what was our object name? Yes. So the object name, so it's the left hand side. So this one that they gave us here. Remember here on this one, if you go to this one, see they said that T country is our class name. So so object name always, well, they'll, if they give it to you, they'll always call it obj. So that should also guide you a bit. So obj can. Let me just. So I wanted to control space, and it really doesn't want to. Oh, it's because I put a barrier, I think. Let's see. Let me quickly just. We'll look just now. Let's play this thing. What it create difference from previous declaration. Oh, remember I added that stupid piece and I never took it out. All right, now we're back again. That's it. So you'll see I wanted to control space and it didn't want to give me anything. So what you then do is just play it, just to see if there's any mistakes on this other class of yours. For now, nothing will happen because there's no code in there. So we don't worry about that. But if it plays, then you know all the problems here is sorted. So now we can go objc control space object country. Okay, yes, go on, Pavan. Yeah. All right. So So where do you get the class definition thing? Oh, so your unit name you never use. Forget about unit name. Never use new. Yeah, it's just class name. This part here. Yeah, so only class name, the unit name. The only place where you might want to use the unit name is if you need to add it to the users part. But that's the only place it's gonna go, yeah. Just class name, 100%. All right, so that's a nice try, but the object you want to create, from which class do you want? Do you want it an object of this class with these things as attributes? Or do you? Yes, because I want the object of this one. So, but you'll see when you created your var part, you basically do that again. Okay, see this what they gave you. I want to say nearly you can copy that and paste it here. You just add the equals. Okay, see that and this are basically the same start. So remember here we just created the pointer. They love to give this to you though. So I want to say 90% of the time, 9 out of 10 papers, they'll give you this. You'll get that odd one where they'll ask you to create this. So then it's object colon class name. And then you semicolon. So that's just creating the pointer. If you look at our first recording, the first day we started with this just creates the pointer to the area. What we're going to do here now is we're actually creating the object, or as they phrased it, we're instantiating the object. Instantiating is giving it like initial values, initializing it. All right, so that looks the same. So you go object colon equals t country, and then what? Dot create, yes. So, but remember now, you're in this class, so they sort of don't exist. They don't exist here. They only exist that side. Yes, tell me. No only. Perfect. 100% right. Yes. So no only carry on for us. How do we do that? So it's a EDT country and a EDT leader. So yeah, yes, yeah, yeah. Very nice. Yes, perfect. Not done yet though, but it's a EDT leader. No, just go comma. Perfect. 100%. That's all you do. So what? That's it. Yes, 100%. Yes. So you'll see on this side. So you could, yes, you could see when we started this thing, when you went your tcountry.create, can you see there it showed you S country, S leader. So that should guide you. I must send the country first and then the leader. So it's there in that like suggestion box. So that guided you as to. Yeah. So personally what I would have done, I would have gone var and I would have created a S country and the S leader of type string. And then I would have said, okay, my S country is my edt country.text, and my S leader is my edt leader.text. So I would have done my extractions first. Yours, because it's so short, this is fine. You could get to one where maybe you get all 5 of those things you needed to extract. Then this is just better. Extract everything first. I love my programs to be, and I think my one left could remember this, to have the input part in the input part and then do the processing part and then do the output part. So input part, first get everything we need to get. Once that's received, let me just show you. So like when you do this part then, let's take this out. If you go here and you go full stop then, and we say create, I go create, control space. If I click on this one now, oh, okay, never mind. Sometimes it just auto fills it. But then I can put my variable, S country there, and my other variable, S leader. So you'll just say the one variable, comma, your other variable, comma, and then all the parameters as they are, but you use your variable names. Just slot them in there. %, yes. So you'll see how with input boxes, you have to sort of go my route because you don't get that stuff. So just do this. So go there, there. Yeah, so personally, I would go this route. I'm just commenting it out. I'm going to stick with yours because it's nice and short and cryptic. But yes, so technically putting input boxes there, you can, but then it becomes very long. You can just put the input boxes there as well. But let's say they wanted you to get all 5 parameters, and then 2 of them strings and 2 integers and a real, and then you needed to do everything. You'll get confused as to what's happening where. So I would advise extract everything first. And once it's extracted, you just go your object equals to the class name dot create, and then in the brackets you just say one variable, comma, other variable, comma, other variable, and just carry on commas with all the variables just in the right sequence, and you sort it. All right. Any other questions on this? All right. So what I see, time already got us. But we're basically there. So enabling a panel, that's just straightforward question 1 stuff. Loading a picture, straightforward question 1 stuff. And then 2 to 2, it's 8 marks, but it's only 8 marks. You just extract the values again, and you just send it to the methods. So this piece, what I want, if you can do this, I'll just say for homework for next time, then we'll mark this, and then you'll see what I also, um, loaded on was another one called this one, Pine September 2021. If you could do also only question 3.1 for me. So if you can do that last one from Eastern Cape, the last 3.2.2, and then 3.1 only from this one. It really will go fast. It's a straightforward create a constructor, do an accessor, do a mutator, then one other method, one other method, one other method, and a toString. So if you can do that, see if you can do that by Friday, and we can mark this on Friday. That would be fantastic. And then whatever we don't finish by Sunday, I'll probably just ask you to do 3.2, and you'll really see it is, OOP is not bad. It's really easy and understandable.